everyone. It is your girl Amber Gardner, and you are here for another episode of Bigger Than Me, the podcast, where we know our victory is bigger than our fears. It is so good to see you all. I'm so blessed to be here. For those of you who is your first time, please do not forget to follow and subscribe. Also follow us on all social media. The links are in the description, as well as the links to the Linktree and also to the audio podcast. Okay, we thank you. Also, the link for the book, the purchase of Bigger Than Me, the book, which is what started it all, is also in the description below. We are so happy to be here. This week will be a little bit something different. I know normally we do life lessons and things of that nature, but sometimes we like to switch it up. And for those who do not know, your girl has a bachelor's in journalism. So I love when art and media are able to bring life lessons. So this week, we will actually be doing a review on the new film starring Regina Hall of various movies such as the Scary Movie franchise, Girls Trip, and also Sterling K. Brown of This Is Us, the movie Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul. Now, some people might be surprised to hear that I'm reviewing this movie. I'm not going to lie. I was not going to watch it at first. And I'll explain that in a minute. But I really wanted to check out this film because I had heard some interesting things, and I'm a person, I like to look at something myself before I pass judgment. That's something about me. I don't like to pass judgment until I know for myself. So we're going to get started on the movie review. So the movie review will work like this. I'm going to go over pros, cons, and I'm going to give my final thoughts. I will try my best to keep this spoiler free, and if there is ever a moment where we go into some spoilers, I will either do an announcement so you can stop watching now and come back after you watch it, or maybe we'll do a part 2 with the spoilers and stuff where I can dig in a little deeper, okay? So first things first, my thoughts about the casting. I liked the casting because I know Regina Hall and Sterling K. Brown, they are going to do some very, very good acting. Also, I heard Jordan Peele was involved. Monkey Paw Productions was involved with this movie, which is Jordan Peele's company. For those who don't know Jordan Peele, he did Get Out, Us, and recently Nope. So I knew it was going to have a message, which is another thing that brought me to it. But what brought me to review the movie was actually an article by a Christian publication. I'll include the article in the description. And it talked about the film and different things in the film, and it made me look at the film a little differently. So I said, okay, I'll check it out. So, pros regarding the film. To give a summary, basically you have a mega church pastor who has recently dealt with a sex scandal, and he's trying to rebuild his church. The movie is a bit of a satire comedy, which thinking that about it now doesn't surprise me per se, just because Regina Hall is very much known for satire type comedies. I mean, the Scary Movie franchise was like one of the OG satire comedies, that, went into that and kind of, jumped on it and really killed it. So this is the thing, the pros about it. One thing, these are things I loved about the film. So the pros of it, I love the fact that it brought conversation regarding the ranking of sins. And when you see the movie, you'll see what I mean. The issue that makes the pastor lose his members is something that is discussed a lot. However, it's ranked differently. And when I say that as a believer, what I mean is sometimes we rank certain sins as bigger than others. Like a liar is different from a cheater, or somebody is greedy is different than a thief. And the Bible does not say that. The Bible states that we have all fallen short of the glory of God, and no sin is greater than another sin. So I love the fact that it opened up that conversation. Also, I love the fact that the woman was the main character for the most part. It was basically told from the first lady who Regina Hall played, Trinity. It was told from her eyes. And I loved that fact for the simple fact of it is rare that you see a film really dive into the plight of women in the church, specifically the first lady. You do not see that often. It is normally told from the man's point of view. And to see something, even though the movie is set up as a mockumentary, it mainly shows it from the wife's point of view. And I loved that fact for the fact of, I don't think I've been in the church all my life. I'm 100% a believer. That will never change. I don't think they understand what we as women go through being in church culture. Especially women of color. I'm a plus size woman of color. I have been thick and curvy since puberty came and knocked at my door. As a result, I dealt with a lot of different stuff when it came to being at church. You know, you can wear this, you can't wear that. It needs to not only be a 1/4 inch below the knee, but because I'm plus size, it can't be a pencil skirt. That thing need to flare, because they worried that me and my blessings is gonna cause somebody to stumble up in that piece. It is tough for women in the church sometimes. So I'm happy it touched on that. Also, I'm happy it touched on the media and how the media views churches, especially with the fact of, and this kind of goes into the cons, so I'll come back to this later, especially as of recent years, how church culture is viewed in the media is very interesting. So I loved how it touched on that. Also, I love the fact that it even briefly touched on issues regarding denominations. There's a small part in the movie where the first lady says she grew up apostolic and the pastor grew up Baptist. And I was like, oh, so y'all going there. Okay, I'm with that. Because for those who know, denominational thing can be interested. It can turn almost into like a fraternity. It's like, no, I'm Kojic. Well, I'm Pentecostal. Well, we Baptist. It's like, okay. Can we stick to the main principles, and we figure out the small details later. So I'm very happy it touched on that. Also, it touched on the church's view a little bit of divorce. And you have to watch it to see why I say that. There's a part towards the end that touches on that a little bit. It touched on a lot of great topics. It was very well acted. Very, very well acted. Now, the cons, and before I go to the cons, I'll mention this. There are rumors that the movie was loosely based on Pastor Eddie Long, the late Pastor Eddie Long. And that is kind of where we go into a bit of the cons. Now, these are some things that I didn't like particularly about the movie. There were some moments where it went kind of far. One moment that sticks out in my mind the most is a worship scene with them speaking in tongues and some other stuff. That kind of made me go, And I'm not gonna lie, as a child, we had those moments. You know, EGLOC, you know, college backwards. I'm not gonna front. But it's just like, to see that in the film, it kind of made me go, I don't know about that. Also, it was the fact, another thing that I wasn't 100% sure how I felt about it was the fact of, how can I put this? The sex scandal they chose in particular is one that's already kind of a generalized view of churches a bit. And it's like, okay, I feel where y'all going with this, but there are some people that have never stepped foot in a church or have not been in a church in years, and they are going to see this and they are going to think that all churches are this way, and that can create a little bit of a barrier. So even though I was happy it started some conversations that were needed, it's like, I hope this doesn't give the wrong impression. Next, also the fact of, and this is something else. This is actually something I liked. Forgive me for saying this. I love the fact that they showed competition between ministries. And if you watch it, when you go watch it, you will see what I mean. They showed competition between ministries and how that can get interesting, okay? Back to the cons. Another thing that I wasn't really sure how I felt about it was the fact of, how can I put this without spoiling the movie? One of the things is, I was a bit concerned that they chose to make it the black church, only because we as black people, we deal with a lot already, and it can be even tougher when people of believers start feeling like their place of worship is attacked or their belief is attacked. One thing I do feel like as of lately is there are certain communities you really cannot comment on anymore. And because you can't comment on those other communities, I do feel like the church a bit has taken that spot where now we get all the flack, all the jokes, all the negative commentary. And I do not think that is fair. Some people might be like, well, the church is this and the church is that. I'm going to say this very simple. God is not fake. The church can be. And the reason why I say that is because anytime man, meaning human beings, anytime we get our hands on something, it is possible that it will become corrupted. That is why God had Jesus be birthed through a virgin. So that way Jesus could not be contaminated, because he would not be from sperm and egg. It will be divine. That's why God chose that. If Jesus had been born of man and woman and man, Jesus would have had some sin. There would have become contamination, and he could not have been the perfect sacrifice. So anytime we get our hands on something, it's possible for it to become corrupted. However, all churches are not like that. And that is the part that kind of made me go, I love how this is starting conversations. It's hitting it on the nose. It's opening up dialogue. That's good. But then it's like, I hope people don't think all of us get down like this. So, and also the acting, Regina Hall, baby. I'm not gonna do a bow because some church folk might get mad because I do that. But you did your thing. My final thoughts on the movie, my final review. I originally gave it a 3 out of 5. I'm gonna actually move that up to a 4 out of 5. On my Twitter, my Twitter, when I first saw it, I said 3 out of 5. I'm going to move it to a 4 out of 5. The movie was excellent. It was excellently done. It was edited very well. It showed a lot of emotion and realness. It had comedic moments to break up the seriousness of the topic, but it really was good. Now, I will say one final con. I wasn't 100% happy with how it portrayed black men. I'm not going to lie. Just because when you find out what's going on with the pastor, and not even, I'll say this, the scandal is not even what made me dislike Lee Curtis, who plays the pastor. Lee Curtis, who is the pastor, who's played by Sterling K. Brown. What frustrated me about Lee Curtis's character is he wanted his wife to do everything, and Lee Curtis did nothing. I am not with a man making his wife do everything. She is helpmeet. You should be able to do some things yourself, especially when you made this mess. So I was not the biggest fan of how I portrayed black men, but I would give it a 4 out of 5. I think it is an excellent film. I think Regina Hall will get numerous awards for this. And I think it's going to open up a lot of healthy dialogue regarding some things we need to discuss about how people view Western church culture. Those are my thoughts for right now. Please put in the comments, what did you all think of Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let's get the conversation going. And you all let me know also in the comments, do you want to see a review with the spoilers where I get into my favorite scenes? All right, y'all let me know. I love y'all. I'll be talking to you all soon. Please remember, like, follow, subscribe if you're not already subscribing. Also, we have some appearances coming up on some great shows within the next couple of months. So follow us so you can stay up to date about what is going on. We love you. We love you with the love of the Lord, as they like to put it. And please remember, this is where we know our victory is bigger than our fears. I love y'all, and I will see y'all later. Peace.